All right, so I'm going to do a video here for the create and edit tables. All right, so we're going to add some tables to add events to the Community Assist. And the first thing I'm going to do is create a location table. I'm going to say create table location. All right, and then we do a beginning and ending parentheses. Your programmer, your instincts are going to want to do curly braces there, but they are simply curly parentheses. So I'm going to give, somehow I lost my thing there. So I'm going to do location key. I'm going to make it a serial. And what serial is it is a built-in function that creates auto numbers, right? It creates it just basically auto numbers this. We're also going to declare that this is the primary key. So then I'm going to do the location name. And there are lots of different data types you could use for this. Varchar, or in here you can use text. I'm going to make it not null. That means that you have to put in the location name. Text and Varchar are about the same. Varchar is actually better if you want compatibility with other databases. Text is not a common data type in other databases. So I'm going to do the location address. Again, it's going to be a text, null. Text is really useful in Postgres, but again, it's not instantly compatible with other things. I'm going to do a location city, and I will make it a text, and I'm going to give it a default value of Seattle. All right, and what that does is if you don't enter anything, you will automatically get Seattle. I'm going to do the similar thing for, I'm going to do location, state. I'm going to make it car. Car is fixed width. I'm going to make it 2. This is going to force it to be only 2 characters. And I'm also going to give it a default of Washington. I'm going to do a location zip. It needs to be. And this one I made Varchar 13. It could be smaller, it could be bigger. Varchar will expand or contract to the size of the text, as will the text type actually. I'm going to make it required. Null is the default. If you don't say not null, it is nullable by default. That being said, when you do a default, it'll never be null either. Okay, so So I am going to do location phone. And that I have as also as a Varchar 13. Actually, this one was a Varchar 11. And this one was is a Varchar 13. And I'm also not allowing it to be null. And we're going to do the location email. And it will be a text, not null. And I'm going to force it to be unique. That means that it can never repeat. Unique is a constraint that you can apply that will force it to always be unique, never repeat. I'm going to do a location URL, and I'm going to do a text. and I'm going to allow that one to be null. Notice there's no comma after the last one. So I'm going to create this table. I'm going to delete a couple of empty spaces. I'm going to create this table. Okay, and if I go down into the public here in the tables, it's not there automatically, but if I refresh the tables, you'll see that there is a location table and that it has the columns that we have said. And if we look at the constraints, it has the location, primary key, and it has the email key, which is unique. All right, so let's go. These tables too, by the way, if you're going to create the primary keys and the foreign keys, have to be done in a certain order. Again, primary key before foreign key. I'm going to create the table event. And we're going to do, again, open and close parentheses. Click in there and separate them. Tab over. I'm going to do event key, serial, primary key. 2 words. And then I'm going to give the event a name. And so event name, we'll make it a text, not null. Every event has to have a name. Event date, and we're going to give it a data type of date. And we're also going to make it not null. And we're going to event time, and we'll give it a time data type and also make it not null. We're going to have an event description. And we'll just, it'll be text, and it will be allowed to be null. And then we're going to add a employee key as a foreign key. It is an integer, and it references the employee table, and inside the employee table, the employee key. That creates a foreign key. Right, employee, it references employee key. It makes a foreign key that links it to the employee table. And again, if we log in, if we refresh, we will see that there is an event table, and it has columns, and under the constraints, it has the foreign key and the key. All right, so creating tables is not hard. The hard part is actually thinking about what you would want, and then what you want for the tables, how they relate to each other, and what the data type should be. So I'm going to create one more table here, and I'm going to do it as a location room. And basically this is like a linking table between the location and the event to figure out what rooms they're going to be, because there could be several different rooms involved. I'm going to do location room key. We'll just make it a serial. And I'm not doing the key. I'm not doing the primary key yet. I will do that in a moment. Oops. So we're going to add a location key, which is a foreign key. but we're going to leave that as is right now. And we're going to do room number. It's just an int, and it's not null, so it can't be left empty. And we're doing an event key, which would be a foreign key. And we're going to make it an int. And what we're going to do now is we're going to alter the table to add all of these. So I'm going to create this table. It doesn't have any keys or relationships at this point, but we're going to add those right now. We're going to alter table, location room, and we're going to add a primary key. And we're going to just say what that is. It's location room key. So this is another way to add constraints. So we've altered the table. It now has a primary key. Also going to add a couple of foreign keys. So I'm going to add alter table, location room. We're going to add constraint. Foreign keys are a constraint. They limit the values that can be placed in a field. I need to give it an event or a name. So this one is location. You can name it whatever you want, but the name has to be unique throughout the whole of the database, not just the table. So it's a foreign key. And then we have to say what that is going to be. It is the location key. And there's one other piece we have to add. We have to add that it references location, the table location, and the location key in that table. Foreign key is always refers back to a primary key elsewhere. So I will run that line. And now that is listed as a foreign key. All right, so I'm going to add another one. So I'm going to alter table location room. I'm basically going to do the same thing, except I'm going to change the fields. So I'm copying this for right now. We're adding a constraint, but this one is FK event. And the field that we're doing is event key. I left out the V. Event. Not doing too well with that. Event key. The table will be event. And the field will be event key. So I can, oops, I need to get rid of that L. And that should do. Now notice location and event are both keywords. Probably not the best names for tables. Oh. We have an extra key in there again. my typing, because of this laptop, is there it goes. All right. Now we're going to create a couple of other little tables. This is to keep track of person and events. So I am going to create table person event. So it keeps track of who's attending. In the open and close parentheses. And what I'm going to do is person key, int, not null. Okay, we're not going to make it a primary key now because this is a linking table, and we're going to do a combined or two fields in the field, clustered primary key. All right, so we have those two tables, those two fields in there because it's just a linking table. I'm going to run these. We'll create that table, and then we'll do some alter tables to make a primary key in the foreign keys. All right. So the first thing I want to do is to make a primary key. So I'm going to add a constraint. Although I think you could just add primary key. And it's going to be person key, comma, event key. See if that works just by itself. It does. So we have a primary key for that table now, and now we have two foreign keys to do. So I am going to alter table person event, and we're going to add the two foreign keys. I'm going to add them both in the same statement here. So I'm going to do add constraint PK person event. No, not PK. FK person event person. And you can name these whatever you want, provided they are unique. Foreign key, person key, and then we have to say what it references. It references person. Person key. Now, rather than make a whole new alter table statement, I'm going to just put a comma there, and I basically will copy this, and then we'll change it to person, from this to event, foreign key, and then it'll be event key, and from event, event key. And I'm going to put a semicolon there, and we'll run those two things together. Oh, what did it not like? Oh, I know why. Because I didn't highlight everything. Okay, so it worked. So we're going to do just a couple of other little things. And then this will be done. I'll post the code on the blog, even though it is mostly in GitHub. So I'm going to alter person table, and I'm going to add, so alter table person. I need the word table. Break the line. I'm going to add a column. And I'm going to, so we don't actually say add column. We say add, I'm going to say announcement as a column. I'm going to say that it's Boolean, and the default is true. Okay, so we can add this table to this column to person. We can sort of see that it's there by doing a select star from person. And let's go up. See if I can bring this up a little. And if we go over, you'll see that there's a Boolean field and that it's all marked true. That one wasn't there before. Okay, let me pull this down again. All right, so we wanted to drop a column. I'm not going to drop it, but let's do alter table person. Let's say we wanted to drop column announcement. That would drop column that we just created. Again, I'm not going to do this. So I'm going to create another table. I'm going to show another way to create a simple table. So you can create temp tables. Temp tables only exist for the duration of the session. So when I close out of this session, they would go away. So I'm going to say create table, temp table, email list. And that first table, create temp table, email list. I'm going to do these parents again, and I'm just going to do last name, text, first name. Text, email, text. Okay, so I'm going to run that table. It will not appear in our table list because it isn't a real table. It's only a temporary table. So I am going to populate it. So I'm just going to say insert into email list. Last name, having trouble typing, first name, email. We'll insert with a select. select person last name, person first name, person email from person. So if we run that, adding my semicolon there, it should insert. So it said that it worked. Now if we do select star from email list, we will get a list of all the people in the email. So that worked. If I want to bring that up a little, you can see that it worked. All the emails are down there. But if I were to do a new query window, so I'm going to do a new query tool. And if I were to say select star from email list, I would get an error that it doesn't exist because it doesn't exist outside of that one session. Okay, so let's drop the table email list. Drop destroys a table, removes it. And this one, it's just removing it from the temporary status. So now if we select star from email list, we will also get that it doesn't exist. All right. And then I'm going to show one other way to make a temp table real quickly. Temp tables can be really useful for just storing values temporarily while you need to do other things with it. So I'm going to select person last name, person first name, person email into temp email list. To email list. Okay. If I run this one, oh, I didn't do from person. Okay. Let's break that up. Oh, again, I messed it up. That worked. And now if we do email list, we'll have again the temporary table email list. And if you wanted to do last name, first name, email, instead of person, last name, person, first name, email, you could have aliased the columns in the query. All right, I think that's all for this. So I'm going to kill the video and I will post this code.